9:07. Commission Secretary, please call the roll. Here.
Commissioner Boatright.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Heckman.
Here.
Commissioner Slay.
Here.
Commissioner Baker. Here.
Okay, welcome everyone. As we move forward with business today, I have a reminder for all that we are live streaming today's meeting for the public to view from their home or office. If you're speaking, please make sure you speak into the microphone and that the microphone is on so that viewers may hear what's being said. For the viewers online, we encourage you to subscribe to MoDOT's YouTube channel at MoDOT.video for access to these meetings and more. We are going to start our meeting this morning with a brief safety emphasis. Joe Moore, Emergency Management Coordinator in Safety and Emergency Management, is going to share with us what we need to do in the case of an emergency today. Joe?
Thank you. Is that on? Working good? So, good morning, Commissioners and Director Hassinger.
Adds a layer of bureaucracy that is unnecessary and that will make us less efficient. So this federal road fund, one proposal, it would establish a federal road fund that's a separate account to receive all federal funds for highway purposes to be expended upon the appropriation of the General Assembly for highway purposes. Under this legislation, federal reimbursements would no longer return to the state road fund, but instead be redirected to a new fund with expenditures subject to the appropriation by the General Assembly. This change would create a significant uncertainty in MoDOT's revenue forecasting, ability to plan and deliver projects outlined in the STIP, and ultimately result in a loss of federal funds. Missourians risk losing federal dollars to other states under this proposal for several reasons, and I'll go through these. One, a compressed letting schedule. Instead of spreading contract lettings over 12 months like we do now, project lettings would be forced into a 3-month window during construction season when the federal funds typically become available. MoDOT contractors and consultants cannot effectively plan and execute $1.4 billion in road work within such a limited time frame. This would result in up to $250 million in unused and therefore lost federal funds. Second item, the loss of administrative reimbursements. MoDOT currently receives federal funds for staff responsible for project delivery and preventative maintenance. This proposal would eliminate that reimbursement mechanism, resulting in an annual loss of about $180 million. Additional consequences include disruption of the planning process. Right now, we have an outstanding planning process in the state. It's a grassroots effort that comes from the local planning commissions and metropolitan planning organizations. And this proposal would pretty much dismantle that long-standing planning framework. So, and then another item, increased risk for the transportation industry. This would result in uncertainty around project timelines and funding when strain Missouri's construction and consulting sectors. Fewer bids, reduced competition, higher costs, and loss of revenue. So with that, if you talk to any legislators, if you're next door, please stress that this federal road fund idea is it's not good for Missouri. We have an extremely efficient process. As you will see later today, we're going to put out, Director, remind me, about $460 million worth of work today? Yeah, which is, there's a lot of folks in this room that have made that happen, so thank you. Another item is the motor fuel tax reduction proposal. This proposal would reduce Missouri's fuel tax if MoDOT's administrative expenditures exceed 20%. For every time the threshold is surpassed, the motor fuel tax will be reduced by 0.5 cent, but no more than a total reduction of 1.5 cents. Each 0.5 cent reduction equates to an annual loss of about $20.75 million in transportation revenue, divided as follows: $14.5 million for MoDOT, $3.1 million for cities, and $3.1 million for counties. So keep that one in mind. And I'll land the plane here. So, concluding, Missouri has made tremendous progress in transportation infrastructure and planning in recent years. If enacted, these proposals would severely hinder that progress, jeopardizing economic development and limiting the state's ability to maintain and improve its transportation system. Budgets could be completed or closed I'm not sure what I was thinking here, but I'll mark that out. But with that, Mr. Chairman, we have a great process in place right now. We get a lot of work done in this state, and we don't need to mess with that process. So with that, I will yield my time back to you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And just let me observe that we are experiencing a truly historic period of time in Missouri right now by addressing long overdue transportation, maintenance, and new construction. And that progress is built on the shoulders of the people who went before us, three of whom are in the room with us today. I dare say I-70 wouldn't have happened without Commissioner Bob Brinkman. I dare say there are other things that wouldn't have happened but for the broad shoulders of those who were ahead of us today. But notwithstanding, there's always a debate of ideas in the General Assembly, and we are in the midst of that now. I'm reminded of the saying that lobbying is an art, not a science. And we've been practicing the art pretty heavily in the last few weeks. I want everyone in the room and the public to know that the members of the commission are personally engaged, very deeply engaged in educating decision makers in the Capitol about these issues. We spent time over the weekend in evenings. In my time on the commission, I don't remember a time when we spent more effort educating legislators about an issue, particularly the federal funds issue that Vice Chairman Boatwright just mentioned. So we continue that because we don't want to drop the ball. We want to keep the historic progress moving forward. And if we'll just be allowed to do so, we'll get great things done for the state. So thank you for your report. Let me now go to the Missouri Transportation Finance Committee. Commissioner Smith serves as president of the committee. Myself, Commissioners Bake and Commissioner Baker are board members. Commissioner Smith will provide the report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The board met earlier this morning. At our meeting today, the board elected officers and approved the fiscal year 26 budget. The next meeting is scheduled for August. So hopefully we'll have a report in August. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioners Boatwright, Hegeman, and I serve on the Emperor's Board. That is the retirement board for patrol and MoDOT employees. And today, Commissioner Hegeman will provide the report.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, there is no report this month. Our next meeting will be June 20th, and hopefully after that meeting, we will have a report.
Well, thank you. And we'll end up here, but on possibly the most important report of the day. Commissioner Boatwright will give the Missouri Coalition for Roadway Safety Executive Committee report. Commissioner Boatwright.
Chairman, as of Friday, April the 30th, there have been 249 people killed in Missouri traffic crashes so far in 2025. This is a 3% decrease compared to this time last year. So far this year, pedestrian fatalities are down 2%, while unbuckled fatalities are also down, a promising indicator that more people are buckling up. Notably, motorcycle fatalities are also down almost 24% this year. May is Motorcycle Awareness Month, and with last year being the first significant decrease in motorcyclist fatalities in Missouri since the helmet law repeal, the coalition is hopeful for a second year in a row of substantial improvements. With the warmer weather, we ask for all motorists to look twice for motorcycles and encourage all riders to make the safe choice and wear a helmet. Finally, we want to remind everyone about the historic levels of road construction this summer. As MoDOT crews and contractors work to improve the state's transportation system, please work with us by slowing down and putting your phone down in work zones. And for that matter, wherever you're driving, please buckle up and put your phone down. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you. And I'll remind everyone, we kicked off work zone safety this month. And around the state, the department hosted media events alerting the public. We're going to have a of work zones in place. And it's critically important that Missourians work closely with us as we try to protect the safety of our employees and our contractors in work zones. Next item is a non-action item, and it is the director's report I've had the opportunity in the last week to work pretty closely with Ed, particularly in the arena of lobbying. And I'm so grateful. He has spent an enormous amount of time on this, and we're very grateful for that, Ed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, commissioners, members in the audience. Today in your meeting, you're gonna hear a lot of the great things that are going on. You're gonna hear about our snow removal efforts, the wrap up from last year. You're gonna hear about the program delivery things that we're doing. You're gonna hear about a wrap up of the Innovations Challenge. And I think that kind of like encompasses many of the things that we do. But those things don't happen without great leadership. And so the first thing I want to do is introduce the newest member of our senior management team. So I'm going to ask Eric to come up and do that.
Thank you, Director. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, it's my honor today to introduce our new district engineer in Kansas City, Mr. Greg Boland. I'll ask Greg to stand up back there. Greg's been with us at 2 different times for over 14 years. He started out in our northern districts in traffic and materials and maintenance, and most recently has been our district maintenance engineer in the Northwest District. He also spent 25 years with the city of Kansas City in their streets and traffic operations. So he's well versed in everything transportation, and he's also happens to be, I think, 3rd generation MoDOT. Grandpa and father also have a legacy here. So it runs in his blood. So we're very proud to be able to introduce him to lead our Kansas City district, and very excited to fill that role, as he has a true passion for safety as well as our operations that we do. So really proud to be able to introduce Greg as our new district engineer. Thank you.
Let me just say, I had the opportunity to meet Greg personally up in Lee Summit. He and I joined the patrol in dedicating their new Troop A headquarters right next to our district building. Greg, I really enjoyed visiting with you, and I look forward to all the great things that are happening on the western side of the state. Welcome aboard.
So I'll say early in my career and Greg's career, we spent many a days inspecting bridges together in North Missouri. So that's where I first encountered Greg. So we're thrilled that he's back in a leadership role with us. So last month, it was kind of a rough weather month for us, and we did a couple of big groundbreaking ceremonies, and we had to pick the worst days that we possibly could for those. But we gathered together, the chairman and Commissioner Baker in our Southwest District, to break ground on the first Forward 44 project, which is funded with general revenue money and our regular state road fund money. It was a rainy day. It was a pretty awful day, but we were joined by a huge crowd. It didn't dampen the enthusiasm for what was going on. We had U.S. Congressman Burleson, Senator Huff, Representative Owens, our planning partners. I see Sarah is here. Many of her group was there. We had certainly our chamber members and business community from Springfield. And everybody was really, truly excited to get this going. It's been something we've talked about for a long time. This first project will widen I-44 from Route 13 to Route 65. It's going to replace multiple old bridges and amongst other improvements in that stretch. This is the first project on that corridor that includes the general revenue money that was approved last year and approved by the legislature and the governor. So we're really excited about the opportunity to get everybody in the room and get this thing going. I wanted to play a video from the groundbreaking, if we could do that.
This is the first component of the Forward 44 project. So we are leading the way. So that's very exciting as well. And this really illustrates the speed by which the department and the team has come to this point, from the planning, the design, the procurement, and now the execution that is beginning today. It is really a speed to action that illustrates the capability of all those involved with this.
We all know how important I-44 is, not only to this region, but to the country. This is a main artery, and it's something that it's great that we're celebrating together this wonderful milestone.
This project is piggybacked on the back of a $2.8 billion expansion and rebuild of I-70 that took place the year before, right? We took that framework, Cody, Bill, members of the House put this plan together, and that's what you see today. In the end, this is going to be, as Stacy mentioned, and as Commissioner Baker mentioned, this is good for safety, this is good for economic development and vitality, not only in Missouri, but all throughout the Midwest.
The economic impact is huge. I mean, this 5 mile stretch in the first phase of this project is the most key 5 mile stretch in Southwest Missouri, because not only does it impact east-west traffic on 44, it is the connector for the main north-south highway of 65 and 13. And so this first phase in itself is going to be extremely important.
So we had a great turnout and everybody was pretty psyched, I think. I'd say Stacy and Jennifer and their team came up with an innovative way to have a groundbreaking in the middle of a driving rainstorm. So it all worked out great. So you heard the chairman mention about work zone awareness. I wanted to give you a recap of the activities during that week. Last month, John and Alex from our Highway Safety and Traffic Division came and kind of gave you the playbook of what we were going to do. And of course, during that week of April 21st to the 25th, which was National Work Zone Awareness Week, we hosted events across the state to educate people about what was going on and what to expect this summer. So if we could play that video of some of the highlights of those events around the state.
We're entering our busiest construction season to date, and we want to remind everyone of the importance of paying attention when you enter and exit and drive through a work zone. With increased projects and improvements being made and invested in here in Missouri, like the I-70 project behind us, we've never had more work zones in our history.
The people who get hurt certainly are MoDOT employees. In some instances, they're city employees. In some instances, there are craft workers. And in almost every instance, if you run into a work zone, you hurt yourself. You hurt your family. You hurt the people who you love. So think about not only the folks who we represent or the folks who work for MoDOT trying to improve the quality of life in the state, but think about your own family and think about protecting them also.
The patrol and MoDOT are both committed to providing the safest possible highway transportation for everyone who uses it, who builds it, and maintains it. Still, there's so much work to be done when it comes to these work zone crashes. And only with the help from the public, we can do enforcement, we can do education, we can have visibility, but the public needs to do their part to make sure Missouri roads and these work zones are safer for everyone.
I am Kelby Herbal, granddaughter of fallen MoDOT worker Lyndon Epker. I've spent the past 9 years of my life without a grandfather due to the lack of attention of a driver. My grandpa has never gotten to hear me give a speech. He's never seen me in an FFA jacket. He was not there the night I became an FFA officer. He has never heard me play the tuba. He has never seen me show a pig. All of these opportunities were taken away from me because of a decision that someone else made. I never got to see my grandpa again because someone else decided their agenda for that day was more important than someone else's life.
As I stand here today, and I pray that one of you guys listen, that 5 minutes earlier, 5 minutes later, that phone call, it's not worth the lifetime of pain that's going to happen to yourselves and to the family that loses a loved one. I asked you guys to please slow down and move over in work zones so the people can behind me and the hard hats get to come home. Because at the end of the day, all I have is Caitlin's hard hat.
So pretty powerful. You know, it's under the worst circumstances imaginable that families like Lyndon's and Caitlin's come forward and advocate for this. And it really is the most important story that gets told. And we want to make sure that story resonates so that we prevent those tragedies from happening again. Another crucial piece to the effort is our partnership with the Missouri State Highway Patrol. Colonel Turner made a commitment that he was going to put some effort into making sure that the events of that week were impactful. So they appeared at all of our events. And then right after the events, they actually ran saturation patrols in the areas where we were having the events. And I just wanted to give you kind of some flavor of that. Just in one day on one of our St. Louis work zones, the patrol made 76 stops. And who knows how many of those prevented crashes. And in that very same day, one of our contractors' truck was hitting the work zone. So it just shows you that the wearing your loads. Picking up trash on the highway is a very labor-intensive task. Our maintenance folks do that, and this year we've spent over 80,000 hours already picking up over 85,000 bags of trash just this year to date. It adds up quick. Last year we spent over $12 million on that effort. And certainly that's a lot of time and resources that we could devote to other much needed tasks if we didn't have to do that. You may remember last year we talked about the efforts in Kansas City District that we worked with our law enforcement partners to get our trash haulers to secure their loads, and then followed up with an enforcement campaign. I think that made a difference. This year in St. Louis, we're currently doing that as we speak, where we've notified all the trash haulers about their responsibilities and are going to follow that up with a similar enforcement effort to try to keep our trash haulers accountable and keep our folks off the road picking up trash. So we hope to see continued improvement on that area. Keeping highways clean is a shared effort. You know, it's our crews, it's our contractors that do that work, it's volunteers that clean up the roads, and our enforcement partners that keep people accountable to that. So hopefully with that effort, we'll see a improvement in the appearance of our highways across the state of Missouri. And then finally, I wanted to kind of wrap up with a hopeful message. We have a group called Traction, which is Teens Taking Action to Prevent Traffic Crashes. And it's a peer-to-peer traffic safety leadership program that is facilitated by our highway safety team. And every July, schools come together in a conference where students develop action plans to address negative behaviors in their community, their local community. And then in March, they come back together for a reunion to talk about what they've done and what best practices they've shared. And I'll just have to tell you that I went to the March meeting where they were all talking, and these are some enthusiastic, probably young leaders of the future. These young people have a real zest for what they're doing. Their enthusiasm is pretty infectious. And I think maybe the future of highway safety may be in good hands with the next generation. So I was thrilled to be able to have that opportunity to engage with them. And I think that's just one of the things that we're doing to try to improve those safety numbers that Commissioner Boatwright talked about a few minutes ago. So, Mr. Chairman, with that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ed. Any questions for the director? Any comments? Members of the commission?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to thank Ed for his report and the update on the work zone awareness efforts across the state. I think they've been great. It's great to have the good partnerships with Colonel Olson and his team. I know he's Turner. I'm sorry, Turner, Mike Turner. I'm sorry. Yeah, excuse me, Colonel. And anyway, and the Kansas City Police Department and all the law enforcement across the state. It's great to see the governor join in and plead, for these people out there on the roads every day. They deserve to go home just like you and I do. So I appreciate all of it, and people just need to continue to concentrate and watch when they're in these zones. So just keep up the good work, keep pounding it. I love the ad. I've seen it on TV rolling through there. So we need to roll through everybody's office that speeds through our work zone. So kind of happens in my place every day. But thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Greg. Anyone else? Well, I think the message of the day is we got a lot of work zones out there, historic amount of work. And for those Missourians who are listening to us today, please keep this in mind. We want all those people to go home to their families at night and put the phone down, pay attention to your driving, don't be distracted, slow down, move over. We've got so much work going on that this is probably the most important thing we can focus on in the months ahead.
Mr. Chairman, not to interrupt, but we just had another former commissioner enter the room. Terry, if you wouldn't mind standing and be recognized. Terry Ecker, former commissioner. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Great to see you, Terry. Okay. Yeah, we've got a coup underway, something. Okay, well, we'll move on with our meeting agenda now to consideration of bids for transportation improvements. I think Danica is here. Danica, you want to come forward?
Chairman Erdman, Commissioners, and Director Hassinger. For the April 18, 2025 bid opening, MoDOT received 50 bids on 21 calls. Our recommendation is to award all calls to the lowest responsive bidder, except for call C01 in the Kansas City District and G02 in the Southwest District. We recommend rejection of call C01 and G02 due to excessive bids per section 102.15A of the Missouri Standard Specification for Highway Construction. Also, we recommend the bid of UDT LLC for call D01 in Central District from the March 14, 2025 letting be declared non-responsive per section 103.2.2 of the Missouri Standard Specification for Highway Construction. An award be made to the next low bid, Cosme Wagner. And this concludes our recommendations for today.
Thank you, Danica. Any questions or comments, members of the commission? Ed, do you want to say anything about the historic amount of work plateau we've reached?
Yeah, it's kind of mind-boggling, actually, that with your approval of this in a minute, we will have breached the $2 billion of contracted work this year. And that's pretty historic.
Pretty amazing. It is. Well, as I said earlier, that's on the shoulders of a lot of people and some of our colleagues in the room here today. Okay, unless there are any other comments, do we have a motion and a second to approve the recommendations?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Not, the motion carries and it stands approved. Thank you again, Danica. Do you have a budget update?
I do. Today's awards are a total of $32.4 million, which is $5.8 million under budget. Today's awards result in a state fiscal year 2025 award to date of $2 billion, which is a saving of 4.5% on $92.8 million or $92.98 million under budget on $2.083 billion worth of work.
Any questions?
Excellent. Very excited.
Outstanding. I hope Missourians know how much work is going on in this place right now. It's really a historic amount, and we're grateful to everyone who makes that happen. Well, we'll move on to the next non-action item agenda item, which is the draft statewide transportation improvement plan, otherwise known as the STIP. I want to just take the moment to say that Missouri's long-term capital highway planning program is really a model for the rest of the country. I'm very proud that we have that. In my prior life, I dealt with 7 state DOTs, and none of them do this as well as we do. We shouldn't take it for granted. It's one of our strengths, and we're looking forward to hearing your report.
Thank you for that. I am Lance Taylor, Transportation Planning Director, and it is my pleasure to present the draft 26 to 30 statewide transportation improvement program, or what we refer to as the STIP. Transportation planning is fortunate to work in a lot of different efforts throughout the state. The most important probably is the statewide transportation improvement program. But it takes a total team to do that. My staff, Amy Binkley and Monica Duncan, do a terrific job with the STIP group shepherding the state through the process. But this is really a product of hard work from the districts, from multiple divisions, planning managers, design, area engineers, just a tremendous amount of effort by passionate, committed people that do a terrific job. It's really my pleasure to be able to lift up that those staff for recognition in that regard. Anytime we talk about the STIP, we like to talk about the MoDOT's planning, a financial planning model. It's our approach to sound fiscal management for the state. It's founded on the financial forecast. Once that is established, we're able to determine the funds available for the budget, and those then are available for unfunded needs to be able to move into and develop the STIP. Here in Missouri, we use the planning framework, as was mentioned earlier, probably more eloquent than I will. It is a nationally recognized, award-winning approach to transportation planning. It's really focused on bottom-up decision-making that drives down that decision-making to the local so that they have a voice in what things are lifted up to address their needs and wants within each region. It is really considered a model for other agencies to consider throughout the nation. Of course, that wouldn't be possible if we couldn't accomplish that without our planning partners. As Sarah's in the room here, we certainly appreciate those partners in metropolitan planning organizations and our regional planning commissions. These are passionate, committed folks that are connected to these regions and understand what the locals need from a transportation system and help us make those decisions to be able to move transportation forward here in Missouri. When we start off the process from the forecast, we determine the funds that are available for contractor awards. As you can see, these are slightly above the previous forecast for the first 3 years, then they follow the alignment. Once we have those funds, we know what can be distributed to the district. We use the commission-approved distribution formula that considers system size, usage, fatalities, and serious injury crashes, population, and employment. We start with the total available funds. We take safety off the top. We fully fund asset management, and then the remaining funds are for system improvement throughout the state. So the districts take that. They work with the planning partners. They have the hard conversations about what can be lifted up, and they put together the draft STIP. This year's draft STIP makes a total of $13.2 billion available for transportation here in Missouri. If you consider it's about 580 pages, that's just under $23 million a page. So if you print it and you turn a page, think about that. And it includes about 1,260 road and bridge projects. The long-range transportation plan tells us that the citizens want us to improve safety, but they also want us to maintain the system and services that we have today. So we focus throughout the process of development on asset management. As you can see here, over the first 3 fully funded years of the STIP, about 82% of that work is focused on maintaining the system and services and following that directive from our public. Pavement and bridges make up the biggest assets that we have. If you consider that we have 78,000 lane miles of pavement here in Missouri, if you were able to pick that up and place it as a ribbon, it would go around the globe 3 times along the equator. We could build a shared 4-lane around the entire world with just the pavement we have here, and still have enough pavement left to build a 1-lane road from the East Coast to the West Coast across the nation. It's an extremely large system, and it takes dedication and commitment to be able to maintain those roadways. As you can see here, as we look at pavements, the draft STIP includes about 12,000 miles of lane miles of work, and it includes about 720 bridges. The bridge work is a little down from previous years, but both of these numbers tend to ebb and flow based on the expense of those structures that are being worked on and the variance of other projects within the STIP. Since the STIP has rolling years from the current STIP rolls into the next STIP. We like to keep track of those projects that roll. There were, in terms of project growth, approximately 7% growth on those projects that moved from the current STIP to the draft STIP. When we dive into that, it's about 2.2% inflation, just increasing the cost of the items that are included. And then about 4.8% on, as we build that engineering and we do that design work, we identify additional opportunities. We use the SAFER approach to identify opportunities to improve safety within each project. And so it's just a little bit of growth within the projects themselves. Additionally, we had 163 projects that had some kind of schedule adjustment. We know that the STIP is both a commitment of time, of money, but of time. And so we pay attention to those. Most of those adjustments are just realigning work so that it works with the major project works that we have so that we can maintain the system amongst all those work zones. In terms of new projects added to the STIP, we had 297 projects. About 241 of those were asset management. The vast majority of the other are JOCs on call, workforce and work zone enforcement, and like ITS programming funds. Additionally, we had 17 projects deleted, and as every project is a commitment, we recognize that we need to pay close attention to those. In this instance, projects were incorporated into other work as we worked in the big work on 70, the big work on 44. The work adjacent to that would be incorporated into some of those projects, and those project numbers are no longer needed. Additionally, we've had a cost share project withdrawn, and then a couple instances of work done by other forces, either maintenance forces, or in one instance, a bi-state bridge was worked on by the other state DOT. This draft STIP is more than just road and bridges. It includes multimodal. You can see here, over the last 5 years, there have been considerable growth in nearly every one of the program areas for multimodal. And ultimately, there's $1.1 billion of funding included in the STIP. This is funds from other sources, not our road and bridge fund. As you can see here, there's the multimodal funding is complex. Jerica Holtzgall, the multimodal director, and her staff do a terrific job of understanding the funding and getting it associated to the right programs in the right way to move multimodal transportation forward. Additionally, there's the maintenance and operation work plans commitment within the STIP, and this really represents the work that would be done by our maintenance forces for our road and bridges type work throughout each district, with each district committing to a plan and working those plans up through the maintenance division, and then approve those plans and making those commitments for the citizens of Missouri. It really allows the folks around the regions to be able to understand what maintenance work is going to occur in their areas. And as you can see, in terms of operations and safety expenditures from 2024, we spent about $360 million of those funds on maintaining roads, roadsides, and bridges. So it's a very large commitment by maintenance and operations as well. So what do I have? What's next? We're going to, with the end of this presentation, we're going to start the process of publishing the draft STIP on our website. We'll open up a comment period for 30 days, take comments, consider those, work with applicable staff to be able to make any adjustments or address any of those comments that as we see fit. And then we'll bring back the final STIP hopefully in July. And with that, I would be happy to answer any questions that you have for me.
Thank you, Lance. Does anyone have any questions knowing this is the draft? We're not taking action on it today, but we will be launching public comment. So any questions?
I have a comment.
Okay.
Lance, I just want to thank you and your team. It is, the presentation is relatively short, but the magnitude of the work that you and your team do and the planning that goes on is hard to even get a handle around for most people. And it's so your professionalism, the work that you do and your team is, I just want to thank you and kind of showcase what all goes into what you're doing is showcasing and all goes into what we take for granted when we move from one place to the other in the state. So thank you so much.
Thank you, and I'll pass that on to the team.
Other questions or comments?
Mr. Chair, just as I flip through the different pages on here and see the new projects coming in, it just reminds me of how important that local planning process is and the amount of feedback that goes into building this and the amount of data that's input into this. Really a big deal, a lot of work, but makes us better and makes us more efficient as a state. So really appreciate what you do, Lance. Thank you and your team.
Appreciate it.
Anyone else? I just want to observe again that Missouri's process is a bottoms-up process. I think most Missourians would be surprised to understand that. As a bottoms-up process, it empowers local decision makers. I think that's a strength of our system, and I certainly do hope it is preserved for years to come. We'll look forward to looking at the final product in August. Yeah. July.
Yeah.
In July, and good luck and thanks for your report.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to the next agenda item, which is a non-action item. Report on the Innovation Showcase and the wonderful program and ideas that come out of that. I think the thing that impressed me most about it, it's people who experience the problem get a chance to solve the problem. So with that, Kelly, you want to make your presentation?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, and Director Hassinger. I am Kelly Backus, the statewide coordinator for the Innovations Challenge program, and I'm here to share highlights of this past month's showcase. So as you can see from this photo, our annual showcase is quite a big deal each year, and it was held in the Columbia Expo Center again this year. And what we found is that centralized location has proven to be a great way to allow more employees to come to the showcase and explore the showcase floor. And that they did. We housed almost 500 employees and visitors this year. We also welcomed 7 guests from the Iowa Department of Transportation. They were definitely stunned and very excited and very impressed, to say the least. The innovation team in Iowa is hoping to build an innovation program like ours, and they jumped at the opportunity to come to showcase. Several of us did talk with them and engage with them quite often, and they're very excited about their upcoming challenge and very excited to host a showcase on their own. So before I get into the results of this year, I want to share a few details about the program for those who may not know much about it. So this program began in 2007, and it was called the Tool and Equipment Challenge. And it recognized handcrafted tools and things like that from our districts. And the first tool and equipment showcase was held in 2008, and I dug up an old photo there to the left. And that year there were 20 innovations, and they had top 3 winners in the categories of fleet, non-fleet, and hand tools. So in 2012, we expanded the program so we could include innovations that focus on statewide efforts and improving processes and increase productivity, and promote those innovations throughout the organization. So at that time, the program was rebranded as the Innovation Challenge, and that first showcase was held in 2013. Since the program's inception in 2007, we've had over 800 innovations have competed in showcases. So before diving into the results again, and our exciting results, I should say, I want to publicly thank our district and our central office coordinators. Their names are listed on the square up there. The success of our program is actually due to them. They do the hard labor, and they're the driving forces that help keep the program going. They promote the program all year long, and they collect the entries. They review the entries. They award their first round winners in each district and in central office, and they have a hand in determining which innovations will go to showcase. They also assist their participants in preparing for the day and preparing them for their presentation to the judges. So even in our 18th year, we are still filling the Expo Center and with great innovations that motivate other employees to think outside the box. It's awesome to see all the employees from across the state. And here you can see just engaging with each other and meeting each other and sharing ideas. For the next competition, it's our goal to get as many people engaging on that day so that we can develop and implement and continue to develop and implement new ways of doing business. So this year we had a total of 61 innovations. We had 21 that were showcased in the productivity category. And these innovations are centered around processes and materials and products that employees have developed to make their jobs more efficient. 20 completed in our projects category. And these are innovations that improve our efforts and demonstrate exceptional results in transportation, and they improve our internal and external processes. We had 20 tool and equipment in our category this year. The innovations in this category are the fabricated and modified hand tools and equipment that improve our safety and our customer safety. Now we are ready to show our results. In the productivity category this year, our first winner was from the Kansas City district. They took home a win for their trauma kit innovation. In Central District, we had the flush-mounted tractor lights that took home a win in the productivity category. Next up, in the Construction Materials Division in Central Office, earned a top spot in productivity for the Materials Lab's innovation called Quantitative Analysis of Chromate Coating. And in the Southeast District, earned the top spot for their Skinny Flush innovation. In projects, the Communications Division in Central Office took home a win for their Contacts Map Stip Layer. The Northwest District took 2 top honors this year in projects category. The first was for their world-famous temporary roundabout and the empirical slab design. And the top spot in projects went to the Northeast District. A lot of asphalt rounded out the top 4. Tool and equipment. Central District pretty much dominated these top 4 this year in tool and equipment. First with their tack oil sprayer, power line marker, and the paver lookout. The top spot in tool and equipment went to the Southwest District for the hydraulic coupler pressure release. So next up, we have Directors Awards for Safety, Service, and Stability. I do want to point out that the director this year told me he was struggling. You could see it on his face. He was really struggling to make his decisions this year, and he wanted to choose more than 3, but you know, we only have 3 trophies. Yeah. So first up, we have the Safety Award winner, and this went to the Northeast District for their Courtside Connections innovation. The Director's Award for Service and the Director Stability Award was given to the Southeast District for their Batwing Wheel Saber. And then People's Choice Award went to the district. That award comes with bragging rights. So So that concludes our winners. Next up, you're going to see a video that our communications team. At MODOT, innovation isn't just something we talk about, it's something we live. It's not new gadgets or cutting-edge tools. It's about a mindset, a commitment to finding better ways to serve, to improve, and to grow together. We see innovation as a tool for impact. It's how we stretch every dollar further, how we refine our processes, improve safety, and deliver more with less. Innovation helps us work smarter, and it ensures that every part of our organization operates more effectively. But it's more than efficiency. At its core, innovation at MODOT is about our employees creating safer job sites, healthier environments, and stronger support systems for our teams. When we take care of each other, we raise the bar, not just on how we work, but on how we show up for one another. Innovation also builds connection. When employees feel respected, heard, and empowered, something powerful happens. They invest. They lean in. They bring their best. And that shared energy is what makes our culture so unique.
My name is Tina Lee. I'm with the Northeast District Communications, and I'm also the representative for the Coalition for Roadway Safety. What our innovation is here today is Courtside Connections. This is just a way to streamline education about highway safety programs, events at school districts. We promote highway safety with doing different challenges. We do the alcohol impaired walk and turn. We also do a distracted and drowsy driving challenge. Everything for all age groups. This year alone, by doing this event with Courtside Connections, we've reached 77 schools.
Hi, I'm Zeke Hall. I'm with Central Office Transportation Planning Division, and this innovation is called the Stiff Error Checking Reports. Basically what it is a collection of Cognos analytics reports that help us review STIP project data. So when all the project data gets entered in by the districts, it has to be reviewed by people in central office to ensure consistency and quality. There are like dozens of different data points that have to be checked, and it's really prone to human error. This just helps us identify potential issues with projects and the project data, and just makes it a lot easier to catch errors. The computer does a lot of the work for you, so adds some automation into the human process.
I'm Justin Huddleston, West Plains Maintenance Facility in the Southeast District. Our innovation is the Batwing Wheel Saver. The problem is all of the newer Schulte Batwings are coming out with the 22-inch wheels. So with the leverage that it's putting on the wheels, we're busting out the centers. So our innovation is a plate that we have machined that fits in the wheel. It bolts onto the hub that adds some extra bracing. When these are breaking out on the roadway, it ruins the wheel, which is a $300 cost. Plus it ruins the hub assembly, which is roughly $200. And then it ruins the spindle also. So by adding this wheel spacer, it adds durability. We haven't had any breakdowns. So no loss of time, no loss of, productivity. And it's also safer for the employees because they're not out on the roadway having to replace wheels.
Many, many years ago, really out of necessity, we made sure that we were trying to do everything within our power to be better, to be safer, to be more efficient in how we do business. And it started the journey of innovation. Now it's a part of our culture. And we put it in our mission statement. We talk about it. We work on it hard every day. And this is kind of the embodiment of that in action. So to all of you that are innovating every day, you're seeing the best of the best here today, but I know that happens in every shop, in every design squad, in every district and division across our organization 100 times a day.
MODOT friends, today's a celebration of all of you. I know I speak on behalf of my fellow commissioners. I had my eyes open today. I used to hear this phrase, necessity is the mother of innovation, and that was on total display today. it's so refreshing to see people who experience the problem have an opportunity to solve the problem. And that's what we saw today. People who in their everyday work lives are experiencing things they'd like to do better, and the department gives them a chance to do it better. I couldn't be more proud of that. I couldn't be more happy about that. And I'm so proud of a department that rewards and incentivizes innovation.
Pretty awesome, right? For those who maybe couldn't be there, I hope you can attend next year. Before I close, I want to take this time to thank everybody who helped for the whole year, and especially on that day. So thank you to our communications staff in central office and in the districts. They assist with all the innovation videos and some designing and printing. Thank you to the talented multimedia crew who captured the showcase and make the video. And finally, huge thank you goes to what we call the Orange Shirt crew. And they are the ones who worked this event to make it so successful this year. They're the team to make it look spectacular. And despite this year's weather delay of 45 minutes spent in the basement of the hotel, the crew was back upstairs and working tirelessly to make everything perfect. Setup was done amazingly on time and very safe, and that the judging was able to start on time as well. And last but not least, I need to thank all of you and the executive team that support our challenge every year and dedication to our challenge program. So happy to take any questions or comments.
Well, thank you, Kelly. Just absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. Any comments or questions?
Not a question, just kind of a comment, Kelly. I've been to about 10 out of the last 12 of these, and this was probably the best one I've ever been to. And you do a good job organizing this thing and putting it together. I talked to one of those guys from Iowa, and he said, every time I'm here, I'm always impressed. So
yeah.
Anyway, I appreciate you and your leadership and your
You're
team
welcome.
and everybody.
Thank you.
It's a team effort.
Yes,
Thank you.
definitely.
This was my first showcase, and it was really an eye opener to see all. I know this is a very talented team, but when you see everything in person, and some of the things the ideas that they come up with, the innovation, the work that they did, and these are things I know they're doing partially while they're thinking about them while they're at work, but they're also doing these things when they're actually not at work, but they care about the work that they're doing. They're trying to make the organization better, more efficient, safer, and it was just a wonderful event. And I want to thank you and certainly everyone from the team, from the MoDOT team, that took time to think about something that might be helpful to the work that they're doing and others within the organization, and bring them into the showcase. I really was, really impressed. So thank you and the team, and look forward to going back again next year.
Sounds good.
Any other comment?
That's awesome.
Ed?
Hey, could you do something? Go back to the last slide, one before this. Can you do that?
Maybe.
So here's what impresses me about what happens. If you look at this picture and you took out all the trucks and all the tables and all the stuff, and you look at the energy that's in the room and the people that are talking to each other, and what they're doing is trying to figure out what the next best thing is. That's the culture we're trying to embody here. And in that room, the energy and the evolution of trying to get better just kind of breathes on itself. So that's when I look at that picture, that's what I see, is not all the stuff, but all the people that are engaging each other. And that continues when they leave the room. So that's what we're trying to accomplish here.
Thank you, Ed. Vice Chairman?
I'm really bummed out, selfishly, that I didn't get to go this year. I hate to admit this, but I go to this, and I think I've been 4 times now. And somehow some of these innovations end up at our shop. So, we take some of these ideas and tweak them, but I'm kind of kidding, but I'm really not. But
No, you'll get a fee here.
the one big takeaway, certainly with old organizations that have been together a long time, doing the same thing over and over again, they get in this rut of, well, why do we do this? Well, that's the way we've always done it. As far as bang for your buck on what we do within this organization, I watch snowstorms, I watch the work that we have in the summer, and it always seems like it's more than we can handle. But somehow our operations teams always find a way to get it done. And I've wondered how that is and why that is, but I've come to realize that it's because of this innovations challenge, because of the culture that we've built within the organization of always looking for a better way of doing things. That's why we're able to do it. That's why we're able to have a team, whether it be on the operations side, whether it be on the project management side. I mean, take your pick. The reason we're able to be efficient and effective at what we do is because we invest in people, we invest in the future of the organization, and that certainly with this event, that shines very brightly through. And I just want to commend the entire team for continuing to invest in this and seeing how impactful it is for the long term. I know it's always during busy times. I know there's other things that, folks would like to be doing, but this is truly one of the best investments we can make within this organization. And I just appreciate everybody making it happen. So thank you.
Thank you, Dustin. Unless there's anything else, thank you, Kelly. Tremendous. I think you get the sense that we like this pretty well.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll move on to the next item, which is a non-action item. We certainly had a strange winter. And today, our State Maintenance Director, Darren Hamlick, is going to give us a summary of winter operations overview. Darren?
Thank you, Chairman, Commission Director. Again, I'm Darren Hamlick, State Maintenance Director for MoDOT, here to give an overview of winter operations. So last winter, we had 9 statewide storms at a total cost of $62 million. 80% of that cost was due to the major storms we had in January and February for the dates shown. An average winter in Missouri cost $50 million, so that gives you some context. We drove 5 million miles plowing snow, which is equivalent to traveling to the moon and back 10 times. It required 500,000 labor hours to clear the roads. Kansas City received 20 inches of snow at the airport, which is the most they've seen in 14 years. We also had a severe ice storm in the Southeast District, which required major cleanup efforts. Many of our employees were without power at home and yet reported into work to help get the roads reopened. Collectively, the lower 48 experienced the coldest January since 1988. It's interesting to note that salt is 10 times less effective at 0 degrees as it is at 30 degrees. So that just means we use more material to get the same results during those cold snaps. In terms of staffing and resources, we have 2,600 operators available. We used 160,000 tons of salt, and our snow fleet includes 1,500 dump trucks. So what went well in terms of our response? Our coordination with the National Weather Service, the Highway Patrol, and SEMA was excellent. Our strike team deployments were key in helping us clear the roads faster and to supplement those areas that were in need of additional drivers. We deployed strike teams on 15 separate occasions involving 160 employees. And strike team members are those employees from other districts that are sent to the hardest hit areas and often spend several nights away from home. We have a robust training program at MoDOT, which includes dump truck, loader, winter skills, cargo securement, basic safety, and radio communications. And each training includes a hands-on component. We also require a ride-along with a more experienced driver before an operator is allowed to plow snow on their own. The National Guard was activated on a couple of occasions to check on motorists, And this was key in freeing up our staff to stay focused on plowing the roads. 28 of our rest areas are contracted for snow removal. This has proven to be a benefit during the larger events. So some key takeaways from last winter include that we utilized every available driver that we had. However, one of our biggest challenges continues to be our inexperience behind the wheel. As you can see on the right-hand side there, 25% of our drivers have less than 1 year of experience, and 45% have less than 3 years experience. And we had 700 new operators that did their first ride along this past winter. Special equipment is important to consider during major winter events, and I'll provide more detail on this later in the presentation. Plowing in the urban areas can be complicated with 4 or 5 lanes in each direction. Sometimes you have barrier walls on both sides of the road. You've got merging traffic. We've lost some institutional knowledge over the years due to turnover, and it's important to recognize that there's no substitute for experienced operators. This graph shows all labor hours charged to a maintenance activity since 2016. Looking at the graph, we can see that our labor hours peaked in 2020. We fell off during and after the pandemic due to turnover, and we were struggling to fill positions. The good news is we've rebounded somewhat from 2023 to 24. However, the graph shows that we were 500,000 labor hours short in 2024 compared to 2020. This labor hour deficit has a big impact on our cycle times during winter operations and consequently how long it takes us to clear the roads. This chart gives a breakdown of our available snowplow operators. So the blue line at the top represents our core snowplow drivers, which come from maintenance. The orange line in the middle represents our supplemental help. These are internal, non-maintenance MoDOT employees from other departments. The gray line indicates new hires, temporary part-time help, and emergency help. The red line at the bottom represents our driver deficit. So you can see that as of January 2025, we were 609 drivers short to fill all trucks for 2 shifts. This chart shows an example of trucks parked during a storm in January. So we had 126 trucks parked during the day, 202 parked at night for a total of 328 trucks parked, which at the time was 22% of our fleet. So how does Missouri compare to nearby states when it comes to winter operations? The states shown in green participated in a survey back in 2023-24. Looking specifically at state maintained lane miles, Missouri ranks first compared to nearby states with almost 78,000 lane miles. The next highest state is Kentucky at 65,000. Conversely, looking at maintenance workers per 1,000 miles, Missouri ranks second to last at 33 workers. Kentucky has the lowest number at 28, and Illinois has the highest number at 69. So taking a closer look at special equipment, we have 85 motor graders statewide, and we have a half dozen snow blowers. Those motor graders can peel ice off the roadways and can push large amounts of snow. The snow blowers are very useful where we have snow piled up against the barrier walls. They can blow that snow up and over and onto the back slopes. We also have 76 tow plows across the state. On the plus side, they do help us offset our driver shortfall by clearing multiple lanes at the same time with one driver. However, they do require an experienced operator, and as I mentioned, that's something we're in short supply of. The traveler information map is our way of communicating to the public. We work hard to ensure that this map is accurate and up to date in terms of road conditions. Our staff at the transportation management centers carefully monitor those cameras and live traffic, and we actively use those message boards to convey information to the public on road closures, delays, and incidents. So the following video will give you some perspective of what it feels like to be passed by a semi-truck on the left and be up against a guardrail on the right with a tow plow. So you can see why we need experienced operators. There's just no margin for error. And this is just one situation that our drivers deal with. And keep in mind, they run 12-hour shifts day and night until we get the roads back to near normal. So what's the bottom line here? Our biggest unfunded need is to address our labor hour shortfall. Continuous improvement is something we're constantly striving for. And while it's important to celebrate our successes, it's equally as important to look back on past experiences and make adjustments as need be moving forward. An example of the effective, efficient use of our resources is putting down the right amount of material at the right time. And this is a bit of an art and a science. But this ties into our extensive statewide training program that includes treatment and plowing strategies. We're so grateful for the partnerships we have with the Patrol, SEMA, and the Weather Service. They are key to our success. In addition to that, we also collaborate with neighboring state DOTs on larger events and for incident response. Innovation and technology, as mentioned, are moving at warp speed. It will soon be commonplace that vehicle-to-vehicle communication will warn drivers of snowplows ahead. And someday soon, I can see that we'll have guidance systems in our snowplows that will show the driver the edge of pavement and potential hazards during a snowstorm. So I want to end by saying thank you sincerely to everyone involved in winter operations across the state. It's truly a team effort, and we appreciate all you do. With that, are there any questions or comments you have for me?
Thank you, Darren. God bless the snowplow operators. I think this illustrates why the commission is trying to shift prioritization back into operations again. Thank goodness we have the ones we have. Are there any questions, Anne Marie? Yeah.
A few comments. Thank you, obviously. It was a rough winter, and it seemed that we got storm after storm after storm. And I'm just amazed by the statistics that you share, the volume this year that's been achieved and the cost related to that. While many of us may have been home sipping a mug of hot cocoa and looking at the MoDOT travel map,
Right.
a lot of you guys were out 24 hours a day, in those 12-hour shifts, and that's a heavy load. And I think everyone appreciates that so that the rest of us can get to where we need to go during a storm, after a storm. It really does matter. The safety component is another one, not only the safety for the traveling public, but the safety of these operators and how that is a concern for them. And what are the barriers to attracting more people to this role? That's the hard thing to solve for. I like the use of the phrase strike team. That makes it sound very cool. And it is a very important job. So I wish you the best in attracting more people and building that experience, building that bullpen from the training stage on up. So there's a bench and no trucks are sitting idle.
Yes, thank you.
It really impacts all of us. And thanks to you and everybody on your teams.
Thank you.
Other comments from members of the commission?
Yeah, I've got a few.
Yeah.
So, so a lot of the things I just mentioned, you fast forward to these charts and you start looking at the numbers, and it shows pretty well that, we're understaffed and still produce and still provide that level of service, which speaks volumes for the folks within this organization. A couple things have happened this last year that have kind of opened my eyes on the topic of what the folks in the trucks, whether it be snow plowing or whether it's after a disaster, a tornado. I mean, this winter I can remember getting ready to leave my house and my wife and kids look at me and go, "You're going out in that?" And, I explained to them that, hey, we've got a whole team of folks out in Missouri that are running snow plows right now that are making sure that we can get from A to B and do the things that we need to do even during a winter event like this. And then last month, I had to leave the commission meeting early for several reasons. We had a couple different disasters going on in southeast Missouri. We had a tornado rip through one of our shops. And then on top of that, the days following, we had a massive flood. We had 13 plus inches of rain to deal with. And one of the big takeaways that I had with that is I can remember walking out the door the night that I got back about 9 o'clock to travel to one of our shops to look and see how much damage I had. I get there and there's a whole MoDOT team already there. They're already cleaning up. They're already opening the road up. They're making sure that the traveling public can get to A to B. And I mean, talking about really hitting home, that doesn't happen just at that event. That happens all the time, all throughout the state. And it really speaks volumes for the level of professionalism, the level of care, and it makes me really proud to be able to contribute to this organization. And the folks that we have are, I like to give baseball examples. When I think of Little League or I think of Major League, I mean, we've got Major League, we're at a Major League level here with the folks within this organization and the work that they do. And, the tow plows, I love seeing the innovation of being able to do more with the technology and the equipment, being able to do more and having the right equipment for the right job. And I've seen that firsthand just over the last 10 years of MoDOT's doing a really good job of paying attention and having the right equipment at the right places. And I'm hoping with our emphasis back on operations, Mr. Chairman, that we can continue that path of getting the right equipment at the right places for this team, because they are operating at a high level. We expect a lot out of them as Missourians, and we get a lot out of our staff here in the state. So just really proud of that. So I appreciate your presentation. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Any others? Ed?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a wrap up, but I think it kind of shows, and it's definitely Becky who leads our global operations and all the districts that are kind of the implementers working together is how we get this done, right? We don't have everything we'd like, but certainly in every case, we have a plan that is flexible enough that we can respond. And I think that shows in the results. In the STIP you approved for public comment, there's the planned maintenance work in the back. Don't forget about that. That's $500+ million of work a year. But this is the stuff that's not planned. So we planned for an average winter of approximately 50 million. This year it was 62, I guess is the final number. And Commissioner Boatwright mentioned we've had one of the worst springs that we've had, and that was not planned either. But we have the backbone in place that we can respond to those things. And as you say, they show up in the middle of the night and they're there, and that's not by accident.
During the worst of conditions, during the scariest of times, our team's there.
Yep. And that's a testament to the team that puts the plan together, because it's not by accident that they show up. It's planned. So thanks.
Well, Darren, Becky, please extend the commission's gratitude to all the snowplow operators, all the people who support them, all the people who leave their normal job to go do that job. Thank them all. We're very grateful on behalf of all Missourians. They're really doing a wonderful for us.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think we're moving now to the main event of this month's meeting. We are going to consider proposals for the Improve I-70 Blue Springs to Odessa design build. Eric and his team are going to make this presentation. Eric?
So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, we'll continue with the theme of highly skilled professionals and a team that does outstanding work. In a moment, I'm going to ask Carly Covington to come up to talk about the Blue Springs to Odessa project. I want to give you a quick little bit of reminder of where we're at on I-70. We're moving at lightning speed, and that's not stretching it. So we already have 2 contracts underway with work happening as we speak on I-70. We have another segment that's well into design. We have another segment that we've started the first industry meeting on last week. And today, Carly will be presenting for our best value proposal on the west end. So in less than a year's time of talking about a massive, massive project of 200 miles of I-70, we're really proud of the team that's making this happen. And that can't be understated, that this happens because of great people and a great team of dedicated people that spend a lot of time and energy, innovation, and also working with our industry partners who've come right along with us. Yeah. So that's the other key piece of this. It's been a teamwork of both of those parts. So with that, I'm really proud to have Carly Covington come up and present for the Blue Springs to Odessa segment.
Thank you, Eric. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Director Hassinger, thank you for having me today. As Eric said, I am Carly Covington, the Improve I-70 West Project Director. I'm here today to give our final recommendation on the best value proposal for the Blue Springs to Odessa project. Here is our updated Improve I-70 placemat for the program. As Eric had mentioned, we do have 2 under construction and 3 that are in design or in procurement. We are the westmost project. You can see there, Blue Springs to Odessa. Here shows our project location across the state. Like I said, we are the westmost project. The bottom picture here shows our specific project limits. Our contract documents state that a 3rd lane needs to be constructed in each direction on I-70 from just west of Route 7 in Blue Springs to just east of Johnson Drive in Odessa. You can see that here in the green rectangle. That's a total of about 18 miles. Our contract documents also state that there needs to be interchange improvements at Missouri 131 and Route D. You can see that here in the purple ovals. That's at Bates City and Odessa. Then with our project, we also really pushed the proposing teams to give us additional miles. You can see that in the red rectangle. We have a total of 10 additional miles that would take us to Route 13 in Higginsville. Through our one-on-one process, we really pushed the teams to go as far east as they possibly could. To talk about our project corridor and the needs, I have some pictures here. You can see that the pavements are in poor condition. The eastbound was originally constructed in the 1940s and 50s, and then westbound came later around the 1960s. The photo here on the right shows that there's anywhere from 11 to 16 inches of asphalt on top of the 8 to 9 inches of concrete that are already out there. So there's a lot of pavement. Also in the top picture here, you can see that the eastbound and the westbound alignments do not line up. Due to when the eastbound was constructed, there's a lot more deficiencies on that roadway. Some other needs in our corridor are the bridge infrastructures. We have a lot of poor condition bridges. So we have bridges that date back all the way to 1922, and many of them have just been widened or have had rehabs in that last century. We also have some scour critical bridges and voided slabs, which are structures that we do not currently use anymore or construct anymore. As I mentioned, we also required improvements at Route 131 and Route D. You can see here that at the 131 location, they currently do not have a full access interchange, and they still have slip ramps. These are more of a safety concern than a regular parallel ramp type would be. We also still have the 1963 voided slab bridge that has had some rehab work done throughout the years. Similarly, at the Route D interchange in Bates City, they do have full access, but this still also has the slip ramps eastbound and west, or eastbound on and off. And then this bridge was also built in 1963. With all of those project needs, we determined our project goals for the Blue Springs to Odessa project. You can see those here. Our goal 1 was to deliver the project by December 31st, 2028 within the program budget of $366 million. Our goal 2 was to provide that 3rd lane of travel for eastbound and westbound I-70s from Blue Springs to Odessa. Project goal number 3 was to modernize I-70 while improving the existing pavements, bridges, and interchanges to enhance safety and mobility. Goal 4 is to minimize the construction impacts with a focus on work zone safety, communication, and construction staging while maintaining mobility. And then goal 5 is to provide expanded employment opportunities while developing and using a diverse workforce. Here you can see our budget breakdown. Like I said, it is a $366 million program budget. That includes the $350.6 million design build contract, which is fixed price best value, and then also includes the $750,000 stipends to our unsuccessful proposing teams. We do have DBE and workforce goals for this project. We have 11% construction, 14% professional services for DBE goals. And then our workforce goals are 12.7% minorities and 6.9% females. We also have 4 construction on-the-job training slots for this project. We shortlisted 5 design build teams. We carried all 5 teams through procurement and did receive proposals from all 5 of those teams. We first have the Ames Construction team, which was Ames Construction in Parsons. We have the Capital HDR team, which was Capital HDR, Trans Systems, and Michaels Road and Stone. We have the Improve 70 West Alliance, which consisted of Emery Sapp and Sons, Clarkson Construction, H&TB, and Bartlett and West. The MassTech Design Build team, which was MassTech, T.Y. Lin, Cost Construction, and Horner and Schifrin. And then we had the Rodmacher Eidecker JV, which consisted of Rodmacher Brothers Excavating, Eidecker, and Wilson and Company. After long evaluation of all proposals, we did find that the Rodmacher Eidecker JV was the best value proposal through our evaluations. Their proposal gives us a 3rd lane on I-70 from Blue Springs to Route H, which is nearly 7 miles past our Odessa original limit. They are giving us all new I-70 concrete pavement that's over 1 million square yards of concrete. We're also getting 14 bridge replacements. That is all mainline I-70 bridges and 4 overpass structures. And then they are making interchange improvements out at Route D and Route 131 as discussed earlier. They have also committed to having 2 lanes of traffic open on I-70 through all peak hours. Here you can see their proposed schedule. They do plan on starting construction this September and then having the project completed by November of 2028. With that, we request the commission award the apparent best value proposal to Rodmacher Eidecker joint venture. We request you authorize the director, deputy director, chief engineer, assistant chief engineer, or their designee to negotiate and execute a contract with the apparent best value proposer, subject to approval as to form by the chief counsel's office. And also request you approve the payment of $750,000 stipend to the 4 unsuccessful proposing teams.
Very good. Well, thank you. Carly, I don't know if your ears were ringing last night or not, but during dinner, I got to visit about you quite a bit and the tremendously professional job that you and your team did on this. And we're very proud of you as one of our young leaders at MoDOT. With that, let me stop and see if anyone has any questions or comments on this. I know everyone's had a chance to review this in more detail, but anybody have any questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman. Yeah, thank you. Kylie, thank you very much for this effort that you've done. As the chairman said, it is really exciting and great to see how many bidders were participate in this process, but also that this is within 2-year period, this is the 3rd major segment that we've got going here. And as Eric said earlier, I mean, we are running at lightning speed on this, and it's just great to see we're moving fast. sometimes you can turn the Titanic pretty quickly, and it's just pretty nice. But just not wasting any time on it. It's nice to have it on the western side of the state, and really looking forward to this western effort over there and a lot of the participation. That's probably why we had great participation, because a lot of folks over there are engaged, and that's wonderful too. But really want to congratulate your team on putting together a great proposal. Really want to congratulate the bidders on putting together just fantastic opportunities for us to design build with this, and in particular the one that we perceive going to be the winning bidder on that, and just really appreciate all the effort going into this. It's exciting to be doing infrastructure improvements in the state of Missouri right now. So thank you, Kylie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hageman. Other comments from members?
Just want to say something that's, I think we all know, but I appreciate your and your team's talent and professionalism. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ed?
Well, I think since it's been said, it might be worthwhile to not only the team on the west side of the state, but the program team that's in the room might want to just stand up so we see who they are. I know some of them are here.
Including those hiding behind the wall back there.
And our program director is standing out there in the hall. But I also want to say also that while this is the team that's executing the project, this is also a full MoDOT initiative. The support that this team gets from all the divisions, all the districts, our area engineers that are out doing the public part of this. This is a full MoDOT effort. And that's what it takes to do what you said, move at lightning speed, produce quality product, and now we just got to get it done, right?
Thank you, Director. Any other questions before we consider the question?
I was considering asking for their autographs, but I'll just put a pin in that for now.
All right. Well, with that, thank you again. Outstanding job, and we really appreciate the leadership you provided to this all-important team. With that, do we have a motion and a second to approve the recommendation for this segment?
Mr. Chairman, I'll provide that motion to accept.
All right. We have the motion.
Second.
Oh, well, beats to it. It's been moved and seconded that we authorize the director, chief engineer, their designees to negotiate and execute a contract and approve the payment of $750,000 stipend to the unsuccessful, and to select Rademacher Eidecker as the preferred alternative. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll call the roll. Yes.
Commissioner Boatright.
Aye.
Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Commissioner Hageman.
Aye.
Commissioner Slay.
Aye.
Commissioner Baker.
Aye.
Congratulations. It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Yes. With that, let me, if there are representatives of the successful team in the room, let me invite you to come forward here, and we'll join Eric, team Eric in the rear, and we're going to take, I believe we're going to take a photo, right? And then the commissioners can join us down for a photo.
We're going to have a talk. Going to have a talk first?
Let's let Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Paul Eidecker, part of the Rademacher Eidecker and Wilson team. And on behalf of the team, I'd like to thank everybody that was involved with this. It's been a great process. It means a lot to us. It's an honor to be up here. It is a huge responsibility that we have now to go deliver this project. We're super excited about that. We started working on this probably 6, 7, 8 months ago. And from day one, our team really gelled, came together good. We worked great with MoDOT. Looking forward to working with you guys some more. Your professionalism, your transparency, everything through this whole process was amazing. And I believe you extracted every last mile out of it. But like I said, we're super excited, honored to be here, and look forward to delivering this project for you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
bring up Paul, bring your team up, Eric and Harley. All folks in the back.
Eric, if it's good, can I have you take a small step back, please? There's several Erics out there. Take a touch shot real quick. All right, final photos. We're ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And last one. 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Great job, buddy.
Thank you. Well, that's one of the great privileges of being on the commission is celebrating wonderful progress like that. And thanks again to everyone involved. Now that we have made a decision on the Improve I-70 Blue Springs to Odessa design build project, I would like to bring forward the consent agenda item that I had pulled earlier for discussion. Do we have a motion and a second to approve the I-70 contracts as part of the Improve I-70 project contingent upon the transfer of funds from the Office of Administration to the I-70 Project Fund to the State Road Fund for the I-70 Project Fund project? It's been moved. Is there a second? Let's give Dan the second.
I would like to second
Okay. It's kind of close to home, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are no opposed, so it stands approved. Motion carries and the bid recommendations and related documents are approved. Thank you for allowing us time to do that. Coming to the end here in our public comment period, members of the public who did not schedule a presentation before the commission may speak to the commission on transportation-related issues by having signed in at the registration desk by 9:30. Comments will be limited to 5 minutes per person, 10 minutes per topic. Madam Secretary, do we have any public comment? Okay. All right, there he is. Okay. We have today Mr. Arnie Dienhoff, who is recognized for 5 minutes. Let me begin. I want to express an apology. You made an open meetings request, and we were a little tardy getting that to you. I was made aware of it. I was disappointed by that, but I just want to share with you that we're not going to do that again. And any member of the public, any Missourian who makes an open meetings request, we're going to honor it, and we're going to honor it within the time limit that we are required to do so. So with that, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, members of the commission. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dienhoff, State Public Advocate. And as you know, there's a lot of legislation going on across the street. I've been testifying this morning on some last minute bills. There's a lot of changes. A lot of things are going down to defeat. A lot of things are hopefully will be crossing the finish line in the next 10 days. A couple of issues that I'd like to go over are, number one is the contracts. Unfortunately, this commission and I have a difference of opinion of you disclosing your public documents. As you all know, the State General Assembly and almost every other board and commissions of state government puts out for public disclosure on their public website all the documents, all the supporting documents, staff recommendations, staff communication, all their contracts. And just to point out, number 5 on the action item, consideration of proposals for improve I-70 Blue Springs to Odessa design build project. I'm all for the I-70 project. I think this is the best thing to hit our state for economic development, to bring communities together, to make a stronger, better roadway. But we really need to home in on the maintenance of our roads. Just driving here to the Capitol, I see problems almost every day that I'm reporting to Tom Blair on a daily basis. And these things tend to fester. They never get repaired. They never get taken care of. The signs never become repaired. The fences never get picked up from accidents. We're not going after insurance company to get reimbursed by insurance companies. And so I'm frustrated as a Missourian and as an advocate of roadways that I keep reporting these items, but there's no accountability and responsibility to get them fixed in a timely fashion. So I wanted to talk about the contract, and unfortunately, you guys met in closed session yesterday, which before I forget, I'd like to request under Chapter 610.021, 610.022, and 610.023 of the revised state statutes of Missouri that you disclose to me of what the closed meeting, what the discussions were, the meeting minutes, and the individual votes taken on competitive bidding specs, sealed bids, and negotiated contracts. Personnel administration regarding particular employees, if you took action against an employee, if you fired an employee, if you hired an employee, if you admonished an employee, or if you promoted an employee, I'd like to know that, and that's disclosable under the chapters which I just cited. But I wanted to talk about this bid proposal, and unfortunately, you didn't give Missourians that opportunity. It's several hundreds of pages in a contract, and I think that Missourians have a right to weigh in, just like we have a right to weigh in on every appropriation bill before the State House and the State Senate, which are now in conference. And Commissioner Hegeman knows all about appropriations, as he was the chairman for a number of years, and it's very transparent and forthcoming. And I think that contract should have been open for Missourians to see, to make sure that the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed, and that staff didn't miss anything. And I think it's our obligation when we're talking about this kind of money that we don't make any mistakes, that there's no fraud, there's no political nepotism, there's no favoritism, and that we're getting a good product. Last month, I talked to you about a rail issue that's very near and dear to my heart, where a 21-year-old lost her life a few years ago in Phelps County at County Highway 3640 and Missouri Highway KK. The young man who took over the railroad division, he left the meeting, and I didn't even get to talk to him. But I did talk to the the assistant direct engineer of MoDOT, but I never got a call back from the railroad director. And that really resonates with me. And this morning I visited with Representative Tara Peters of Rolla, who this district covers, and she has a bill in the legislature addressing this. And I asked her if she was contacted by the railroad director, who just took over last month. She was not contacted. I talked to her legislative assistant, Jacob. He was not contacted in reference to this. And that really hurts my heart that nobody cares. And we're not working to make sure that we're saving Missouri lives. I hear commissioners talk about let's, and especially Commissioner Smith says, let's reduce our fatalities. Well, let's reduce fatalities in Phelps County. And why didn't the representative or myself be contacted on this issue about moving the storage of railroad cars back so people have the full sight of view when they cross that railroad crossing? Makes no sense. And then finally, I'd like to request again, under chapter 610.023, all documents, all the electronic documents sent to you as commissioners, all the memos, all the recommendations from staff on the various millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars that we're spending in taxpayer money, because you need to be held accountable and responsible. And I like to read the same documents that you had the privy of seeing a week ago. And I'd like you to, again, revisit and make these documents and the meeting packets available to 6.2 million Missourians. You're no special than any other governmental body, state commission, or state board. If other boards are doing it, why don't you set the example across America and make sure that the public is included and that you're transparent and accountable with the information. We have a right to know. This is not a country club, good old boy type, let's hide the information like what was done in Defiance, where you held meetings in violation of state law at Mr. Brinkman's house when he was the chairman, when he held fancy dinners at his multi-million-dollar mansion. I'm not going to hold for that. I'm going to hold you accountable and responsible, and I deserve to see the same records. And so I'm making that request under chapter 610. And so I appreciate you hearing my comments. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, duly noted. Thank you for your testimony today. We appreciate that, and we'll take note of it.
Can somebody address in their comments about the railroad? Because that really, we need to save lives.
I'll
so-
ask the chief engineer to inquire with the rail director about that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I believe, Madam Secretary, was that the only one who signed up? Okay, well, with that, I want to again recognize, it looks like we have three of the former commissioners here now. And if any of the three of you would like to say anything, knowing that Greg has his finger on the timer, if any of the three of you have anything you'd like to say before we bring to adjournment. It doesn't look like it, so we'll save that for in private session. Thank you for being here today. We certainly do appreciate that. At the end of each meeting, we like to provide each commission member the opportunity to share any concerns or comments that they have. So we'll start that today, and maybe we'll start over here on the left today and start with Commissioner Slay.
No further comments from me.
Thank you,
today.
Commissioner Slay. Commissioner Hegeman.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will not pass up the opportunity to speak.
Okay.
No, just real quickly, I'm really excited about the professionalism that we continue to see in the department and the movement on I-70 and just moving forth on that. Also like to see the continued efforts on the rural roads out there, that we continue that effort. Hope the legislature will see fit to continue helping us in that regards. There's still great need on the rural roads, and certainly, like I say, hope the legislature sees that as well, and we continue on that path. So with that, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much.
Okay, I'll pass it to the dean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, just a great meeting, lots of good presentations. Kelly, I always enjoy going up there to the Innovation Challenge. It's great. So I encourage everybody to go to that. It's just exciting, all the work going on I-70. And, Ed, your presentation, you're talking about the safety and the governor being behind us. That's great. And we just need to keep pounding that ad where they're rolling through their offices and knocking stuff down. That's a great ad. But no, just good to be here. I'm tickled to see my fellow commissioners and get to spend a little time with them here after a while. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Greg. Commissioner Baker.
A lot's already been said, but I would just encapsulate that in how exciting a time this is. The Improve I-70 project and the westernmost piece of that we approved today is so exciting because it stands really for quality, innovation, delivery, just rising up to the challenge. And so while we're looking at those things that are so positive and encouraging for the future, we're also taking a look back at the hardship that the winter brought and the safety concerns, the issues that came with that. And the stark contrast between those two, the very exciting and the really unfortunate, just illustrates the fact that MoDOT is ready for that. They are built for that. They're built for the what if, things that weren't planned, things that could happen. They're built, they're ready to respond no matter what. And that just speaks about the MoDOT culture and the people who are here. And it makes me very proud for our state and to be involved in this in any small way. So that's my takeaway for the day. And just thanks to everyone who makes that happen here every day.
Thank you, Anne Marie, and Vice Chairman Boatright.
I think I've used my words up for the day, Mr. Chairman, but
Okay.
I
Don't
do-
let that stop you.
well, I do appreciate everybody in the room and the work that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thanks to our group who showed up today. We always appreciate having a full house. And to those who are listening in or participating via the internet, we're always glad to have you. Please continue to log in for future meetings. But before we adjourn, I want to note that our next meeting is scheduled for June 5th, 2025, and we will be meeting in Kirksville, Missouri. And with that, I would ask if we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of adjourning will say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.